this is my review of the LDP Alpha from Seismic. LDP means long distance pushing, and well, it can also mean long distance pump, but these wheels are notably different than the traditional Seismic Alphas because they have this cut on the outside edge. Perhaps I'm not in the right conditions for you to really see this well, but it makes the contact patch narrower, and then they also come with a beveled lip. I don't know what characteristic that does to help long distance pushing or pumping. I will say these wheels do come with full skin, which takes a little while to break through. It's not the most durable skin ever, but it is pretty grippy, so keep that in mind. These wheels have gained a decent amount of traction in the downhill and freeride community. The people who are going real fast and taking corners real fast that still want a very high performing wheel that slides very smoothly are kind of looking to this as a Goldilocks wheel. Now, it is not a traditional downhill freeride wheel, and that is super tall. At 80.5 millimeters, it's taller than almost everything else out there. And that can be a great thing for you if you're looking to carry speed over a long distance. That can be a bad thing for you if you are trying to make the most of a small hill and you want the quick acceleration. Fortunately, the Defcon urethane is particularly quick and doesn't lose a lot of energy as it rolls. And my friend Spencer Light is going to help us out with kind of analyzing that and comparing them to what I would say is the biggest competitor to these wheels, the Orangutan Kegel, a wheel that originally came out for downhill and was really widely used in the long distance pushing community. People love them nowadays for fast freeride and their controlled slide. So I'll be able to analyze that for the downhill and freeride side, but I'm absolutely not qualified to talk about how they roll, how they conserve energy, how they are at long distance, their comfort. So Spencer Light's going to help us out with that and give us his unique insight as to the usability of these wheels for long distance pushing.
Hey y'all, welcome to my basement. So Owen gave me the LDP cut Seismic Alphas to look at, and I was super stoked. I've been doing plenty of LDP on some Venom Cannibals, which right here, and to actually try an LDP focused wheel is just such a treat. He also gave me some Kegels to look at and compare against the Alphas. They're a much better comparison, but I'm going to be using the Cannibals as a benchmark, so that's just what I'm used to. So yeah, let's see how the Alphas stack up for LDP. Oh yeah, my setup for all this was this Pantheon Nexus with one 80mm Paris V2s. I love this thing, super low, stiff for LDP. Definitely one of my stiffer boards, but I really do love this thing. So first things first, I measured each wheel as they were when I got them. None of them had skin and were totally chunk free. So here's what I got for the Cannibals, Kegels, the Alphas. The Alphas are the biggest at about 80mm and are significantly heavier than the Cannibals and Kegels. But the thing about the Alphas is they are the least wide at 55mm compared to the Cannibals, which are like monsters. They're so wide. The Kegels are pretty close at about 55.5mm, so they'll be a pretty okay comparison for the Alphas. Now, I've had these for a couple weeks, and I got the chance to cruise around and skate some of my local LDP spots. So at the hillier spot, immediately with the Alphas, I noticed their crazy roll speed and speed retention.
Roll like crazy. That's so cool.
Compared to the Cannibals, it's just not even close. The Alphas just keep rolling. Kegels have really good acceleration, better than the Alphas do, just because of how light they are. So this makes them relatively easy to push up the hills. The problem I found with the Kegels is I could really feel myself slowing down on the flats. The Kegels are a touch sluggish. To really get an idea of like how well each of these wheels hold roll speed, I ran a little test on a small hill. Started at the same speed at the same part of the hill, around 10 miles an hour, and I just marked where each run ended up. And yeah, the Alphas blew everything out of the water. They just feel faster. At flatter spots, the cannibals, I felt like I really had to force around. They were, again, very sluggish. They're really smooth over rougher pavement, which was nice. The Kegels, again, great acceleration, but on flat, that doesn't really matter. They lose more speed than I'd like, and you can really tell on the flat. They kind of like mush into the pavement, and if you just feel like you're losing energy on them. The rougher roads feel pretty good though. The Kegels dampen out some vibration, but I could still feel what the road was doing. Side note, I did brick myself on these.
The wheels better line up with the rails. I'm not afraid of using the wheels. Oh, son of a...
That wasn't the wheels' fault, I think. I probably need slimmer trucks. But I feel like it was worth mentioning. Now, on flat is where the alphas really, really shine. Once you get them up to speed, it's just a breeze to keep them going. I was able to keep my heart rate lower while maintaining a great pace, just because they keep going, and I could take more rest in between each push for the pace I wanted to hit. What was weird is that they're a softer duro than the Kegels, right? You would expect them to slow down a little more. What's also weird is I could feel every single bump and crack on the road with the alphas.
I feel like I feel the road a little more.
Now, I am on the stiffest Pantheon double drop, so if you have a flexier board, this probably won't be an issue, but this does get down to why I think the alphas feel so fast. It all comes down to the core. The Kegels are offset and stick out around 12 millimeters max from the core. The alphas are also offset, but they only stick out about 6 millimeters from the core, and they have this really thick layer of urethane connecting the contact patch to the core. They just have way more support overall than the Kegels. Look at how much they deform compared to the alphas. Really have to work to get that down. Because the lips are further away from the core, that causes more deformation and more road contact, and therefore you lose more energy and that slows you down. The alphas have none of that. They stay very on top of the road, and the supportive core is also what transmits more road features to the board. They do have a little less grip, but plenty for LDP. I have no complaints about that, but I'm sure Owen will talk about that some. So, to summarize, the alphas have amazing roll speed and energy return. They just keep going. Despite how heavy they are, they don't feel heavy, especially when you get them up to speed. They do give you a bit of a rougher ride, but if you have a stiff board and you really care about a silky, smooth, cruisy ride, the alphas might not be it. But I love these wheels so much. They are a serious LDP wheel through and through, and if that's what you want to do, get these things. Okay, bye! Thanks for having me, Owen. I'm gonna go skate now.
So I'm finally ready to give you my thoughts after skating these wheels for a few weeks. A bunch of different sessions, a bunch of different pavement types. Quite notably, across any situation, any pavement, these are really, really durable. I have really minimal wear across the contact patch, like the diameter hasn't changed too much. I can tell that I've gone past the original bevels, so it's leading me to believe I've got about 2 or 3 millimeters taken off these guys. But frankly, for the hard skating that I've been doing, and the abuse that I've put these through, and the past skating I've done, free riding these on my drop through, they're good. They're very durable. The one thing I will say, and I'm not sure I'll be able to get this on camera, so forgive me, but there's a lot of chunking going on. I did take these to a rougher road than I've previously been riding them on, and the lips are starting to get those little micro chunks. So if you're looking to get the most life out of your reel, if you're looking to really preserve the lips, keep it to smooth roads. They're still going to feel great on smooth roads, and I actually really enjoyed these wheels on rough roads. Not for hard cornering, they do get really upset. The urethane doesn't deform very much, so hitting bumps, hitting cracks in the road, potholes, things like that, the wheels get really upset. They want to slide around, but I can confidently tell you that they do slide good on those surfaces, even though they may not corner well, even though they don't keep their composure and through turns. They do slide very nice. Now on smooth surfaces, the kind of feeling you're gonna get is a really rubbery texture. When I say rubbery, I truly mean like rubber, pink rubbery, my shirt color, that pink rubbery racer you had as a kid, the big one, you know, that trapezoid, poly. But yes, the feeling of dragging that across your desk, that's the kind of slide I get out of these on smooth pavements, and I really, really enjoy that feeling. It gives me a lot of confidence to lean far off of my board, which frankly is pushing me to do my slides faster than ever before. And that's not just a coincidence because they have that rubbery feel. These wheels need to go fast to slide well. Now, the faster you go, the smoother they slide, the more consistent they are. Now, that's true for a lot of wheels, but this one has a pretty high minimum for that good slide feeling. You can eke out some decent feeling short slides at very low speeds, but you're not going to enjoy yourself riding a straight free ride hill on this wheel. You really want to be using this for high-speed slides that are very purposeful, very intentional, going into corners. What I enjoyed most on these wheels was trying to speed up my toe sides, trying to put a lot of velocity on my toe sides and shave just the right amount of speed to be able to grip a corner at the limit. And that was such a fun exercise for me. It was something that really stretched my legs, stretched my comfort zone, and I have these wheels to thank for it. Now, I will say the Orangutan Kegels did kind of the same thing for me, but I don't know if it was just the day. I don't know if it was the temperature. Today was a little bit hotter than the day I skated the Kegels, but the Kegels didn't give me the same confidence that these did. They were very close. Like the slide, you're gonna be hard pressed to pick a favorite in the slide. I'd say the Kegels are a lot smoother over a variety of pavement types. These get scratchy, like the green side of a sponge, you know, the real coarse part of the sponge meant for breaking up fat and chunks on metal plates, you know, yeah. I love that description. That's how this feels sliding on rough surfaces. The Kegels are a little bit better across a variety of surfaces, but still, they're not excellent. I really want to try the blue Kegel someday. Those seem like an awesome wheel, except that they'd probably be a little sluggish, a little slow, a little not wanting to change direction. The center set nature of this wheel means it's very nimble, very agile, and then in the slide, it slides very directionally. It wants to turn in a slide. The Kegel, when I slid that out, it kind of wanted to slide in a straight line, and the way I'll put it to you is this. If I'm doing a mandatory stand-up slide before a corner, I'm going to do that stand-up slide going into the corner, like at the corner entry for the alphas, and the Kegels, I'm going to do it before I reach the corner. I'm going to do it on the straight. And that just, some people may like one thing or another. The Kegels are going to be a little bit more suitable to straight freeride hills than the alphas, but still these are both wheels with a lot of grip. I'm having a hard time finishing my sentences. You know, I instinctively reached for coffee to, you know, give me the mental pep, but I drink decaf in the evenings anyway, so. Oh, I don't even have my favorite side of the mug pointed towards the camera. Everybody, this is Norm. Meet Norm. This is my second favorite mug. Tune in next episode to find out what my favorite mug is. Just like Spencer told us, these wheels have immense roll speed, crazy roll speed. But being 80 millimeters tall and relatively heavy, it takes them a while to accelerate. Not only in pushing are they heavier to literally forcefully accelerate your board, but as they roll down a hill, they are slow to pick up that speed. I'm sure that the 75 millimeter alphas will do that and they'll accelerate a little bit quicker than these, but the 75 millimeter alphas don't come in the LDP cut that's kind of free ride friendly, so make your choice there. These are going to handle rougher surfaces marginally better than the 75s, but still, same as before. Like Spencer said, you will feel every feature in the pavement. You will feel every bump, every crack. You will feel the road directly. Kegels, not so much. They don't have the same speed. They're a little weird to change direction. You know, they're a little sluggish. Downhill 254 actually has a great video where he also discusses the same thing. And I wholeheartedly agree with him. I think it's just because they're so offset. Additionally, while cornering, I found that these had surprising cornering properties. I felt like they were really, I don't know, they were kind of awesome to corner on smooth roads. The second you get into some rough stuff, they get upset, it's hard to hold a line, but on smooth roads, these wheels had way more grip than I anticipated, and that's probably for a number of reasons. First reason is being center set, they're aligning underneath the rails of my board so much better, which just means that the width of my board, approximately 9.5 inches, is way closer to the width from each outer lip of the wheel. You know, if I had another one on this side, the distance between those outer lips is called the track width. And ideally you want your track width to be underneath the rails of your board. And essentially your board should be able to stand on its side and be level. I would love to make a video about that. I would like to make a video exploring that and what that might do for you, what it does for me. But I don't have time to do that right now. We're talking about this really fast freeride wheel. So yeah, back to how they grip corners. I was really impressed by how controllable they were, how much I felt like I was able to feather the edge of grip right as they're on the threshold of sliding. I felt like I was able to load these up so well. And another reason why I think I might have been able to do that is because of my weight. This is an 80mm wheel. It's got a lot of urethane to squish, and at 175 pounds, if I was pretty precise, pretty delicate in the corner and with my inputs, I could get this wheel to load up really well and just take such a nice line. I was going faster on these than I imagined. And frankly, the Quay Killers, a 75A race wheel, I know there are other versions, but the 75A are what I tested, what I own, what I made my review on. Check that out. I won't link it in the description, I won't remember. Yes, the Quay Killers, I had such a hard time feeling that edge of traction. Such an immensely hard time, and that comes back to the track width issue. The Quay Killers were probably about 10.25 inches wide from my outer lip to outer lip on my 165mm Paris. These are about 9.75, if not 9.5 inches lip to lip, which just sets them underneath me a little bit better, allows me to squish all my weight into the wheel as we load up in a corner. I think riders who are lighter, you know, maybe 160 pounds and down, will struggle getting these wheels to perform really adequately for them in the corner, to get the same feeling that I had. I think lighter riders won't be able to compress this nearly as much and kind of squeeze out that last bit of grip, that last bit of lip that this wheel does have. I'm certain you'll still enjoy this wheel as a light rider regardless, but something to keep in mind. It might feel a little bit more skittery on the pavement for you. You might find that that point where it breaks out from gripping to slipping is a little sharper than what I felt. Now I did skate these with the green built-in Tecton bearings. I don't really plan on making a review for those, so I'll tell you my thoughts on them now. They have a lot of slop, and I couldn't tell if it's hanger slop or with the ball bearings, if the ball bearings just had a little bit too much wiggle in the seat, but they had that jiggle. You know, if you have your wheel on your axle, you don't want to be able to jiggle it side to side when you put on the nut. You want to tighten that nut all the way down so that it's snug, not over tighten it, because you can deform your bearings, you can deform the spacers that way and cause unnecessary damage to them, ruin their life. So when you do tighten those down snug, these Zealous bearings had a perfect fit in here and there was no extra play. The green Tecton bearings, which are $4 more expensive, they did have a little bit of that extra play, and as a result they caused a little bit more chatter in the wheel. You know, any slop in your setup, any extra movement, unnecessary movement in your setup will cause a grippy wheel to chatter, and even can cause a freeride wheel to chatter. As an example, I was skating with a friend today who had just put her board together. It was her first true downhill setup, and she had Paris, Snakes, Zealous ceramics, and a gorgeous log, that's the name of the board, from Mother Skate. And it was such a cool setup, but every time she slid, she would get these awful honks at the end of her slide. And I just knew right away, I'm like, something's not tight. And instantly I'm like, hey, Corey, let me check out your setup. I gave it a little bit of wiggle, and yep, the wheels had a little bit of shake because she hadn't tightened down her bolts, her nuts, her axle nuts all the way. So with a grippy wheel like this, that's particularly important that you have a wheel. Loud. It's particularly important that you have a wheel and a bearing with little slop to no slop on the axle. Additionally, and this is something I was a little bit hesitant to share, but I think that you will have better slides with these wheels, better free ride with precision trucks. And I don't think anybody needs precision trucks to skate well. I think you can be so competitive, so fast on cast trucks and forged trucks. But precision trucks are precise for a reason. No, it's not just because they're CNC cut to extremely high tolerances. That's not exactly what matters with a precision truck. What matters is that they have some mechanism to stop slop. I talk about slop a little bit in my Caliber Trucks review. I give a little bit of a visualization of what that looks like, but slop is just any motion of the hanger outside of the axis that it's meant to rotate on. A little bit of slop is actually sometimes a good feeling for people because it's almost like suspension in a car. It allows that hanger to conform over bumps, over cracks, over imperfections so that that's not transmitted through your feet. Trucks like Rojas or Don't Trip trucks that have the spherical bushing in it have a really direct feel. They have almost no slop, and as a result, you can get really, really smooth slides on those because there's no auxiliary movement of the truck. On my Paris Savants, I was getting a lot of chatter on these wheels at speeds below 25 miles an hour. And that can be really frustrating to you if you're buying these wheels to do freeride, and particularly slower freeride. Say you're working up your speed, you're working up your skills. On my Paris Savants, I got a lot of chatter on these wheels until I started going faster, and then even then it was a dice roll if I would just get some scary chatter or not. I would recommend these to a rider who's freeride. Well, if you're looking to freeride these wheels, I'd recommend them to you so long as you have the ability to do your stand-up slides at about 20-25 miles an hour. It's going to push you to do all of your stand-up slides at that speed, which is fine. It's good. It's a way to progress. Having gear that suits the speeds that you're currently riding feels cool. Unfortunately, this is not the wheel to learn stand-up slides on. This is not the wheel to move to if the only wheel you've ever skated for freeride are snakes. You know, you probably want to find something intermediate. Loud. Again, this is what I get for filming on top of a roof above the two busiest intersections. Yes, it's definitely an advanced freeride wheel, but I will say for downhill, you know, go fast, taking good lines through corners, grippy wheels, high speed, these are actually a really awesome entry-level downhill wheel because they don't have super flexy lips, so they're not going to dig into the pavement. They're not going to grab hold of the road and really just have sharp hookup, sharp kick out. These are pretty forgiving. And then also the contact patch is narrower, so of course they're going to be a little easier to slide. This is a wheel that I would totally take out to go, I don't know, work on my technique, work on my form, try different variations on slides I already know. No, I'm not going to be working on 360s, and I'm not going to be working on Roman candles. Actually, Roman candles, that wouldn't be bad. But no, I'm not going to be working on techie freeride things on this wheel. I'm going to be working on my downhill form. I'm going to be working on getting all the power I can out of my wheels, really getting my weight up and improving my control of my board. These wheels are really going to actually benefit that really well. You're going to have so much roll speed, so you're not going to be sacrificing anything. And in my mind, these do rival the Muirskate Fat Boys as being a really good all-around entry-level downhill wheel. Muirskate Fat Boys are a little bit grippy for being an entry-level downhill wheel, but what appealed to me most about my experience on those big 75A wheels was that they slid the same over every type of pavement. They were the most consistent wheel I've ever skated. This doesn't have that. This changes pretty drastically over different pavement types, so you need to be cognizant of that based on what you're skating, where, and if the pavement conditions are changing. So yes, I recommend these to somebody who's looking to step up their freeride game, that 25 mile an hour plus zone. These are really going to encourage precise stand-up slides, oftentimes stand-up slides going into corners where you have a very, very important amount of speed to cut. You know, you have to at least break X amount so that you can take the corner with a good line and not risk going out of your lane or washing off the road entirely. These wheels are also pretty awesome for an entry-level downhiller to get something that's immensely fast, crazy fast, but will also have a very forgiving slide. You do have to be cognizant that the different pavement types will greatly affect it. And then, as Spencer said, these are a magnificent LDP wheel, such low energy loss, and I'm sure that he's going to be getting off his cannibals real soon to get on some of this Seismic DEFCON thane, because I'm sure there's nothing beating it in the world of LDP right now. I'm loving these wheels. They have a ton of life left. I'm sorry I can't do a review where I get them really low, you know, I get them worn down all the way to the graphic. I would love to skate them until they're that size. I think I would really enjoy that, but unfortunately, I'd be here till November or next year at the same time because these are gonna last me a really long time. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you're as excited about this wheel as I am and excited about Seismic. All their products are super cool, super innovative. They're pushing the norm in the scene, and other companies are having to rise to the challenge of offering products as good as Seismic's. Also, I think that their team riders are really cool. I think Rachel Bruskoff, or better known as Rachel Bagels, she joined the team recently, and that is such an awesome thing. I've talked to her for advice on how to start a club, how to have a good community, one that's positive, one that's inviting. And she is a person that is a beacon of light in the downhill community, and I couldn't be more pleased that a company like Seismic is hooking her up with wheels and giving her a platform, a slightly larger platform to share her ideals. So thank you all so much for watching. Stick around. I hope to be reviewing some more Seismic products soon. I've got 66mm hotspots up my sleeve and hopefully going to get a little bit of slalom going on those wheels. But regardless, a lot of hype going on for products right now, and I'd say this is one of the more hyped things in the industry. So I'm so privileged to ride this. It is expensive. It is so expensive. That's one thing I didn't touch on. At $80, this is one of the more expensive downhill wheels, but what you're getting is a wheel that will outroll almost anything else, and then also be incredibly durable and have a really cool free ride feeling that is either going to progress you to the next level or just treat you so well if you're already at that level. I appreciate you guys so much. I will see you next time. I've never said I will see you next time at the end of my videos before. I think I just end it with I appreciate. Here you go, Ryan Hennessy. I closed my eyes and lost balance, and I felt like I was falling off 4 stories of buildings. So I'm gonna go now. It's getting dark. Love you. Love you. Bye-bye. Everybody say bye to Norm. Get my picture. Will this be the thumbnail? Probably not. Will this be the thumbnail? Oh, that's far more likely. That might be cool. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for giving me this platform with so many views. Man, it's good to know that there are a lot of people out there like me that want to consume this type of information. I sleep really well at night because you guys are just such a cool community. So cool wanting to talk about products, gear, share your thoughts and opinions, and learn with me about what kind of gear is going to suit your riding. Okay, I'm done. The video's over. It goes too long. Bye, you guys.